Bad Time for a Frog in the Throat. Coming up on Verse, Chorus, Verse, I am truly excited to discuss the socioeconomic implications of attempting to ride a surfboard to work instead of a car. That's next. This song doesn't make very much sense. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 191 of Verse, Chorus, Verse, where we talk about how cute Evil's dog is. We actually all did pretty well in the cute dog department. With me is Evil, Say It Ain't So Stanton. How you doing?
Good. Saturday morning, let's do it. It feels like cartoons.
It does.
Yeah. It's Bugs Bunny and Tweety show.
That's right. I miss Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
That is like
The little Merry Melodies song and logo and stuff. Yeah, that was good times.
Not too long ago, I plugged in 90s cartoons into YouTube, and there's hours of them on. You can just watch them again.
I am a massive... You know what? We'll get there. I haven't even introduced. Rachel would love to put her makeup on the shelf and never leave the house. Polio.
It's so
Rachel,
true.
how are you doing?
Oh, that was spot fucking on, buddy. I'm good. I'm feeling a little not well from some poor choices I made last night, but I'm excited that it's 9 a.m. and we're recording already. So,
are you food hungover or booze hungover?
You know, I didn't have any booze, just water.
Oh.
But I made some very poor. It's, you walk into a place and you're like, it's like a divey bar, and you're like, I don't want to see the kitchen because it probably would not pass a health inspection. And I was like, it's going to be good food, and it sure was. But it probably wouldn't pass a health inspection. So I'm I'm feeling that today.
You'll be okay.
It'll be fine.
What were we talking about?
Weezer?
That is what we're talking about today. Weird thing, we actually do promote on. What's it called? Social media. I am on 2 hours of sleep in 48 hours, so you're gonna have to cut me some slack here today, people. But hey, I'm drinking. I'm ready to go. I'm kind of just I'm gonna pub it up tonight. I'm in Dublin.
Ooh.
Yes. So, and tonight is my free night before a lot of work, and then the next time we record, I'll be in southern France on another free day.
He's so fancy.
Not really. Work just ships me places. And it's kind of a bullshit job when you travel a lot for your work, because everybody's like, oh my God, he's in fucking France. It's like, no, I'm actually going to see outside like twice. Evil, is your look today on purpose, or do you just happen to look like Rivers Cuomo?
It's very on purpose.
I love it. Yeah. You have a very like 90s cool nerd shirt on.
Yeah. Well, so, we're going to talk Weezer. We're going to talk the Blue album. I got a blue shirt on. I got the black rim glasses, which I hate wearing, but they felt right. My shirt is actually my training business logo, which is inspired off of an inverted Van Halen logo. Which,
I love that.
And Weezer also does the winged sort of look on their logo, that a lot of homage to the Halen. So, yeah.
I feel like if there was if this becomes an episode, I'll spoiler alert, I love this album. Weird. But if this becomes an episode where I have to defend anything to Evil, I feel like I have a huge leg up because of how much these guys love bands like he likes.
Yes.
Very much.
I don't think you'll have to defend much.
I better not.
I don't know if you're going to like some of my takes, but it's all in love. It comes from a place of love.
I have an interesting take too that might make people mad. Rachel.
Yeah.
Had you ever heard the Blue album before?
I think once or twice, maybe. So when you said this was going to be a thing, this was a couple months ago, I think. And I was like, oh, I might as well start studying now. And I turned it on and I was like, I know every fucking word to every single song on this goddamn album.
Yeah.
And so,
This might be, with the exception of Dirt, the least I needed to study an actual album, just to refresh my memory.
Yeah.
Because I don't listen to the Blue album often, but it's so ingrained in my head that it's there forever. I feel like it... I don't know. Actually, we'll get to that sort of stuff later. When this came out, which was 94, so you were knee deep in your Stone Temple Pilot love. I mean, it could not be on your radar, but was this in your collection.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. This was like the heyday of good MTV, and they were very much and let me back up, because there was like the 80s MTV, but then it had transitioned into the 90s MTV, and these guys were majorly a music video kind of band. You know, it was a big part of, I think, their popularity, the look, the kind of nerdy look, the Spike Jones videos. Yeah. So yes, I didn't want to like them because they looked like such fucking nerds, but at the same time, the music was so good that it made them even more interesting.
Really, really ruining your want to be a 80s movie villain.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Really. We're talking the Blue Album, everybody. You all know it and love it. I know that people that listen to these type of episodes are just here to, yeah, that's right, man. You talk about how good that album is. That's why I would listen to this episode. Funny thing, social media, so I completely ignore Facebook. I post everything. So if you post something to Instagram, you can automatically share it to Facebook, right?
Right.
I think, and I go on our Facebook maybe once every other month. I ignore Facebook. Sorry, but you're all old people that ignore us too, so who cares? But we average like 1, maybe 2 likes per thing. I posted it was a pic of Bad Motor Finger. It's still, people are still reacting to it. So there's some algorithm there that we're not hitting ever, but
need to figure that out.
Apparently, I don't know if it's just a Soundgarden thing, like Soundgarden and Facebook, or like this. I don't know.
Old people.
It's been a really weird year for the podcast numbers. They're very weird, but that's okay. We don't care because we're talking about the Blue Album, and now I'm happy. I have it on in my ears while we're talking about it. Before we get to that, we got to talk about the most important part of the night. What are we drinking? It's actually 9 a.m. for you guys.
Yeah, 9:23.
9:23 a.m. for them. 4:23. Oh, missed it by 3 minutes for me. Rachel, it's 9 a.m. Do you know where your alcohol is?
You know, it's smart that you went to me because I have the most boring drink.
If it's water,
I have some Bigelow peach tea.
Oh my God.
just call me evil.
Ain't so.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
So that's where I'm at today.
What liquor is in it?
Stevia.
Evil. Actually, no. I'll go next. So I'm in Dublin.
Right.
Pretty cool.
Is that some chocolate milk?
It is. It's chocolate,
love chocolate milk.
Pretty cool thing. I went down to the lobby, got a Guinness, just grabbed a can and took it up to the front desk. I was like, "Hey, put this on my room, please." And they were like, "Oh, we'll get you a Guinness." It was like, that's obviously there for show, dipshit. and so they just, like, there's a bar right there. They just go and they pour me a Guinness in the glass and they hand it to me. They're like, "Here you go." I'm like, "Oh, cool, okay." So that was fun. I'm drinking a Guinness.
Well, yeah, because Guinness is amazing. I love
really
Guinness.
is.
I don't drink beer much at all anymore, but I still love a Guinness.
Guinness is so good. Do you like Guinness enough to where you would pilgrimage to Ireland just to taste the Guinness here?
Ooh.
Oh.
Best friend road trip.
Reminding you about Irish whiskey also being here.
Yes.
There it is.
Reminding you that Green Spot and Redbreast are also made here.
Yeah. And Connemara and Teeling and many others.
Yeah,
some great Irish whiskeys.
For real.
Yeah.
And, Jameson. Let's not knock good old Jameson.
Yep. Bushmills.
Bushmills. A little Tullamore Dew.
Yeah.
Evil, the fanciest of us all. What are you drinking?
Oh, so it's morning, so I'm going to do a boozy coffee. But I have all of the accoutrement. I got the Chemex here with the coffee, my cup with some cream in it. I'm going to put in some Mocambo single barrel art edition 20-year aged rum.
Oh my.
But the reason that I'm doing that is we have a new coffee called Wampus Cat.
Oh.
It looks like
fucking
Vampire
amazing.
Cat, which is cooler.
So
Yeah.
I went down this rabbit hole. Megan came home with this last night. It's made in Clark Fork, Idaho, up north. Their coffees it's Scotchman's Coffee. To do a little plug for this place because this coffee is really good. This is the only one that I've had of theirs, but it's really good. But their marketing is fucking amazing. They have one called Pond Water, spelled Pend, like Ponderay, and it's got like a little sea monster on it. I'm a sucker for good marketing and good coffee. So I'm having a boozy
I love
coffee
it.
with Wampus Cat. Look up Wampus Cat. It's like Native American lore.
Is it? Are they Native American?
Wampus Cats?
Yes, the cats.
I don't know.
Are they native to-
American?
It's Scotchman's Coffee, so I'm dubious.
So probably not. So what do they call it?
Appropriation?
Yes,
I'm all
there
for
you
it.
go.
Cultures to be shared.
We should.
Interesting.
I think we should revamp our podcast a little bit.
I feel like our last episode, we should just let Jimmy talk. 'Cause if
No,
we know
I
what's
think
going down.
Our last episode, we got to find some sort of truth serum and then let Evil talk.
Oh, Jesus
Do
Christ.
you think we
Yeah.
need that?
I mean, he hasn't gone full evil on the pod yet.
On the pod, that's true.
Yeah, it's gonna happen someday. Let me tell you about what Evil did to my Twitter. Blue Album, everybody.
Yeah.
You know it. You love it. We know it. We love it. There's a line in Wayne's World movie where I think it's Tia that asks him, Peter Frampton Comes Alive, do you have this? And he's like, have it. Like they gave it out in the suburbs with samples of Tide. Like
Yeah.
everybody in
Yes.
the world owns this album. We'll take a break and then we'll talk about it. Welcome back. Weezer's Blue Album. Hey,
Yes.
it's 1994 year in 2024 year on verse, chorus, verse. Stats.
Yeah.
What do we got?
Weezer's Blue Album. This was released we're about a week off to the day 30 years ago. It was released May 10th
Hey,
of the recording
I did that
of
on
this.
purpose.
Yeah, sure didn't. May 10th, 1994 on DGC Records. This was Weezer's debut album. They formed back in 1992 in Los Angeles.
I think you should let Evil say who produced it, though.
Who produced this?
Rick
Evil?
Ocasek.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Cars fame. Yeah.
We don't mind you guys coming here wasting all our time, people.
He knows a little bit about pop rock, just a smidgen, if you will.
Yes.
It's that fact. Oh, sorry, I let you keep going, Stat. That fact that he produced it. It's like one of those things that gets wiped from my memory, and then I look up the Blue Album and I see that, and it's like a brand new. Holy shit!
Yeah.
So anyway,
And he had done like a Bad Brains record at that point.
Yeah.
He wasn't like big into producing yet.
well, and I love that's never been part of the shtick of this album. It was never the Cars. Now you've got Weezer. It was never.
Yeah.
It was never advertised or anything like that.
I didn't
Right.
know
Damn
until
it.
today. Not today. Yesterday when I started studying. Yesterday. Gosh, there's so much to talk about. So Weezer was composed of Rivers Cuomo on lead vocals, Patrick Wilson on drums, Mike Sharp on bass, and Jason Cropper
Matt
on
Sharp,
guitar.
right?
Hmm?
Is it
Did I
Matt
say
or is it
bass?
Mark?
What?
You tell him, Steve, Dave.
I have Matt Sharp on bass. Jason Cropper on guitar until he was kicked out mid-recording because his vibes were not vibing with the album. And so he was replaced by Brian Bell.
Should we talk about top 10 worst career moves of all time?
Yeah.
Fuck. You know what? That album wasn't that fun to make, and I don't think this is going to do very well. See ya.
So we've got Pete Best. We've got...
Oops.
Oops.
Whoops.
Ooh.
Speaking of which, I wonder how P. Diddy's doing after that video came out.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Ruh-roh.
Ooh.
Do you have numbers on this, Stats? Because that's what I am
That's what I want you to share. I just feel like you're so much better at numbers than me.
Actually, this kind of shocks me. Triple platinum.
That is surprising considering they handed it out for free.
Wouldn't, like, before looking, wouldn't you think that this was at the least 6 times platinum?
Yeah.
So I had the same reaction. I'm like, what? Like 3 point whatever million. And then I look at the global numbers. I'm like, oh, it sold 15 million worldwide. So
still, that seems high for high for the worldwide, but it seems very low for the States.
You have to remember, it's very low for the States. But what's even more fascinating about that number you just gave, Evil, is that USA typically blows the other countries out of the water as far as album sales.
Right.
Like, other countries don't buy albums the way that we do. Fuck America, baby.
But also, like, this was such an unoffensive band at the time. And so so many people just loved this album and loved this band, and parents were okay with the kids listening to this. There's nothing bad about it. These guys look very clean cut and nerdy. There's nothing wrong with them visually. And so it's very surprising.
They dressed nice and made their songs poppy to get the kids to come bop with them.
They're fine.
Stupid idiot parents.
I'd let my kid listen to this.
The other reason that surprised me so much is because how American this album is.
Hundo.
Yeah.
This is such an unbelievably this is like cool Americana, which is very rare in my humble opinion. So not cool.
Well, it's not cool is the thing. It's like
Anti-cool?
It's not.
Let's go here now. Evil. This is the biggest question I wanted to ask you about this. These guys, all of their influences are Van Halen, Kiss, Whitesnake, like all of the
Malmsteen.
Yes, yeah. Does that does who they are as people offend you even more because of who they're influenced by? Do you see them acting the way they act on stage and dressing the way they dress and be like, you fuckers need to represent who you're influenced by?
Are you mad that the nerds are listening to your music and then putting this out?
Because just as much as this is Rivers' band, really. Like he's in terms of influence. So I'll focus on him and his influences. I can't speak to the other members as much. As much as he was influenced by, Kiss and 80s hair metal and, he worked at Tower Records. So he's from fucking Connecticut, number one.
Yeah.
I mean, how fucking nerdy are you? From Connecticut, moves to LA, gets a job at Tower Records, finds other music. He did the work. He got into the Pixies. He got into Sonic Youth.
Yeah.
But also dug back even further into the 60s, got into the Beatles. Huge. I mean, we're getting into some of the awards and categories influence area here, but massive Beach Boys influence here. So if they're on stage doing what they're doing, the argument can be made as who should they be representing?
I like that.
Yeah. They took this weird amalgam of stuff and created a new thing, which I think it's both artistic and contrived at the same time, which is kind of the genius
I like that.
of what they did.
Yeah. The little choices that they made on this album that you don't think who gives a shit, but in the end, Rivers Cuomo apparently had a couple weird rules on this. He wanted all the guitars to be downstrum only. He didn't because he wanted an old school kind of pop punk feel, which I always just assumed that the reason that this album is so pop punk is because of who produced it, but is actually a lot more of a Rivers Cuomo thing.
Rick was more of a, hey, we want to sound like this, let's go get this guy to do it, rather than he did have some influence on stuff, but
good influence for the good.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that Rivers, because you're right, he was obsessed with the Beach Boys, and one of the things that he really, really wanted this album to have was the high to Norm part harmony. And I think Rivers' acceptance of, look, we're not the fucking Beach Boys.
Right.
But we can still take certain elements of their vocals and almost make it amateurish on purpose. And to me, that amplifies this album. If I was on another podcast or at a bar drinking and some hot chick, I was going to say guy, but it's my own fantasy. Why can't it be a hot chick?
Is she Australian?
She's Australian. It's years and years ago. Everybody's single. And this person says to me, give me an example of one of the most well-produced albums of all time. I am immediately going to say the Blue Album. Blue Album is to me, the immediate example of a perfectly balanced, produced album. There are certain things that they did different in the time that nobody was doing. Certain things like, Evil, you're a guitar forward guy. These guitars this is more than a wall of sound. It's like, hey, this album is about guitar.
Yeah.
I don't really give a shit if you hear the lyrics. I want guitar.
Yeah, and I could talk a lot about the guitar on the album. It spawned this sort of I don't know, quest to get this sound. And everyone thought the big muff pedal was took off because of this album, but they were plugging directly in. This was Rick Ocasek's gear, it was a very simple setup,
Yeah.
But just because of the production and the way they played, and it's dare I say it, it's triumphant. It's nerdy, but it is triumphant at the same time.
Extremely triumphant. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, they took the guitar, they turned it up to 11. There is no reverb to be had in this fucking album. And they said, you know what we want? We want a clean, we want a distortion pedal. That's all we fucking need.
Yeah.
And then all of us kids in the 90s in bands rejoiced and went and bought a distortion pedal, and that was it. That was all we needed.
Right.
Thanks, Blue Album.
Joke's on you. There was no distortion pedal. This is all just amp gain.
All just amp shit.
But I saw something where they're we want the guitars loud, on Radiohead's song Creep. We want it to be so fucking loud.
When it kicks in,
Yeah.
it needs to be
It needs to be
it
a
needs to go
wall
up
of
to
sound.
11.
And they had in lockstep, guitar and bass were doing the same thing. This giant wall of sound. I fucking love it, man. I love it.
Rachel,
Yeah.
did you like this album when it was out?
Yes, I very much did. Like I said, I was super excited about this being an album that we were going to listen to. It was, again, just unoffensive, a really easy listen. It was something that I listened to a lot, knew all the words to, but didn't actually dissect. And so I got a very different outcome of this study that I thought I was going to get. Because I thought it was going to be a review. We're talking about a fun album, blah, blah, blah. But I read into the lyrics. I looked up themes. And
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so there's a lot more to this band than just a happy, poppy, catchy tunes.
I'm glad that you went there because you reminded me, and I don't think we've spoiled anything yet, so we're good to go. But we didn't guess each other's favorite song on the album.
Yeah.
And we've got to do that. And as the sun goes behind the clouds here, and I have this dark, ominous screen, I wish that this album was a little darker now.
Interesting.
Evil.
Chiaroscuro, I would say. This is very chiaroscuro.
What are our
Art.
favorite songs on
I love
this
art.
album?
What are your favorite songs? Rachel, Say It Ain't So.
Say what?
That was Say It Ain't So.
It ain't so.
That was easy. I just picked the big song, and it feels, felt right. For you,
Did you just say you're right?
No, he said it felt right.
it felt right. It just felt right. That was that's
No, I
it.
thought Rachel was like, yeah, you're right.
Yep. Good job.
Also
High five.
that. Yay. For you, fucking, I don't know, man. I
Dart to the dartboard.
Yeah, and you said the same thing about me. You messaged me. It was the last night.
You're not supposed to talk about the album without me.
We didn't.
It was just it was
Trying to pick a favorite song for you guys on this was impossible.
Yeah.
wasn't really discussing. It was just he was angsty. He was
Weird.
venting. Weird, strange. I felt the same way. I don't know, man. I could pick. I don't want to say I could pick any of the songs, but I could pick 6 or 7 of them for you easily. Yeah,
You could.
But I'm gonna go with Only in Dreams because I feel like I know you like Pinkerton, and it feels like the most Pinkerton-esque
Ooh.
song on the album.
It does. That's
Yes.
a very
right.
good point.
Yeah.
Very good point.
And it's the ending track, which segues into that album being their next album, and it's got that fucking killer guitar stuff towards the end.
Yeah.
So that's my answer. I'm gonna stick with it.
It's a very good choice. Yeah, I think Pinkerton's gonna get brought up again today. I will go next. Rachel, I feel like Buddy Holly is too easy. So I'm going to stick with it and say Buddy Holly. Evil, just because of, look, there are songs that rock harder on this album, which makes me think that I shouldn't pick it. But the implications of the song In the Garage, the imagery it gives you of this kid being in his safe space with Van Halen posters up and shit like that. I mean, that's, to me, that just, he doesn't talk about having a bench press in there, but other than that, it's just about perfect. So that's what I went with. Rachel, what are our favorite songs?
Oh, that's a great question. This also was insanely difficult for both of you. So I'm just taking wild fucking guesses. David, I put The World Has Turned and Left Me Here. And that is due to the musicality on that song. Because I guess I didn't know, if I knew like why you guys like this album, it would be a lot easier to pick out. This is a harder album to like pinpoint why someone would like it, because there's a lot of different aspects of this album that are likable.
Yeah. Well, it's also the type of album that in Evil, you're probably the same, but it's the type of album that I had never thought about that until studying for this. I never thought about why I liked it. It was just there, and I liked it.
Yeah. Good point.
Okay. For Evil, my initial guess was Buddy Holly. And I thought, because I don't fucking know. And it's a song. It's a song on the album.
It is a song.
It is a song.
Then, thinking about Evil as a person, maybe No One Else, because he's like super controlling of his women.
That's fucking right. No,
that's not true at all.
That's not true at all.
Megan is a strong, independent woman.
Yeah.
So what'd you pick?
I'll stick with Buddy Holly, probably.
Okay. Let's talk about No One Else.
Yeah. Yes.
Rachel, as a woman, does that song offend you, or do you like the idea of someone just being so in love with someone that they want all of their ness?
So this song has a bunch of different ways you could take this song. You could take it as the writer is incredibly insecure and feels like if this woman ever leaves the house, wears makeup again, laughs at anyone's jokes, does any of these things, then they will leave their significant other for literally anyone else. And I feel like that's probably where it's coming from.
Do you think that what this song is about, though? You do?
I think that's where Rivers was coming from when he wrote this. It comes off in today's world as incredibly controlling, like inducing like all these jealous feelings. This guy's probably going to murder his girlfriend and cut her up and put her in his trunk.
Let me ask you something then.
Yeah.
What if it was a woman singing, I want a boy who will laugh for no one else? When I'm away, he, what?
I think
doesn't
that
masturbate. I don't know what's the equivalency of makeup on the shelf. I don't know.
Work out? I don't know. I get really mad when Trevor works out.
Let's Sigmund Freud this. What? Why?
I just feel like I want to be the pretty one in the relationship. And when he starts getting hot, I get really mad.
Near where so it's not like other girls are going to want you. It's you can't be as good looking as me.
Yeah, it's more about me.
Wow. Let's dive into this.
Let's not.
Do you get mad if he laughs at other women's jokes?
Yes. I am a crazy person.
So just to recap, this just perfectly describes females. This song is controlling and it's all blah, blah, blah. Speaking of which, my boyfriend and I absolutely like this. And yes. Sorry, husband. Sorry.
That's okay. I think if this was reverse perspectives, though, I think there's so much more awareness these days of like, okay, but if this situation was reversed, people would think so differently of it. Of like, a younger woman and an older man is totally something that happens all the time, but reverse it and it's totally fine. And when I think of like gross grooming situations with older women and younger men, I think.
Jesus.
Nope, it's gross both ways.
How
And
did we
so,
get here?
huh?
How did we get here?
I'm just going off. I feel like if it was reversed, I would feel the same way. I think really listening to the lyrics of this song, I got a little uncomfortable.
I've always seen it as a puppy love kind of thing, you know? Well, and there's
Sure.
also other implications in the song that maybe she was cheating on him or something like that.
Maybe he just thought she was. I feel like having the rest of this album written from like a very nerdy, insecure perspective, then I feel like I know that that's the same place this is written from. But if you take the song and isolate it from every other song, then it's a little like creepy and questioning.
Here's what I'll say to that. Maybe this is what it's about. If I'm in love with a girl, I know her laughs. And if I see her laughing a certain way with another dude, I would be like, oh, that's not good. That's not good at all.
Yeah.
Evil, deep thoughts. What do you feel about the song No One Else?
What if a really hot guy that girls lusted after wrote this song and sang it?
I feel like would make me so much more uncomfortable
if like Chris
than if River.
Hemsworth wrote this.
Yeah.
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 I don't know.
That would
I
be
don't care.
worse.
I really don't care. This song's not about me or for me.
That's the right answer. That's the right answer. Let's get off of I wanted to get done with this song first because I knew that it was going to be fucking weird. Because it is a little weird. It's a little weird, you guys. Come on. It's a little weird. Let's do the fun stuff now. Guys, you can't fucking ride a surfboard to work.
Oh.
That's not a thing. No.
Challenge accepted.
Actually, you could. Do you have stairs, Evil?
No, but I can make some.
Oh, you'd have to make some. Well, he works at home, so I was just thinking he could ride a surfboard
Yeah.
Right.
down the
It's downstairs.
stairs.
Down the
I only
stairs.
have a single level, but I could rig up something.
Surf Wax America, is there any part of you guys that thinks that this is a weird fit for this album?
A little bit, but but if you factor in like the Beach Boys fanboyism
Yeah.
and stuff, it kind of makes sense then. And
It
you know,
does.
a dude from Connecticut moves to fucking L.A. It's trying to immerse himself in the culture.
I didn't even think about that. Everything that I think that I want to talk about is going to be awards and categories for this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the fuck else do we say besides awards and categories? It's the fucking Blue Album, people. We're gonna take a break and then we're gonna get all up in this shit. Sorry for the crap back.
Our viewers are mad.
Sorry, I'm so big. We are back.
You're an idiot.
The David Crosby Award for Bad Reviews.
Ooh. I've been looking forward to this actually.
Go on.
So I just love this because I don't think I get it, but I like it. And I don't this is from Brad Taste. I literally got nothing
Brad.
out of this album. It found its way as background music every time I tried to pay attention to it. I'm simply not the demographic. Edit. Many years later, 6 years, I had no score. I am now older, sick on the couch, bored all the time, unambitious. This album is perfect.
That's amazing.
That's great.
I don't know if I get it, but I love it.
Yeah.
You know what was
I love it a lot.
interesting? Because this album, it's the 30-year anniversary. There's just a lot of stuff online, right? Like currently being put out about it right now. And I wound up in, I don't do TikTok because I refuse to have my brain controlled by the Chinese government.
Smart.
But
Me too.
I do get sucked
But
into.
you're okay with ruining my Twitter thing.
Yes. Well, that's sport.
Yeah,
I do
don't-
get.
Chinese government, don't ruin my mind. Meanwhile, on Twitter.
I get sucked into reels on whatever, Facebook or
Yeah, me too.
or YouTube Shorts or what. I got sucked into the algorithm. Started feeding me stuff about the Blue Album, like people have been posting recently about
cool.
it because of the anniversary. A lot of vinyl channels doing stuff, and
Nerds.
I'm like, okay. The weird thing is, I'm listening to like Zoomers like mansplain the Blue Album to me, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? What am I doing with my life? But
Love that.
it was good to see how much love it was getting online because of the anniversary. So that was cool. And it overwhelmingly positive too. Overwhelmingly positive.
Let's get into this now. I understand not liking Weezer, but who wouldn't? What is it about this album that you wouldn't like? I mean, I just don't understand. I don't understand not liking this album.
I think at the time they suffered from some of the same issues that critics were like pinning on Stone Temple Pilots. Like it was a debut album that shot into the stratosphere. They didn't. This was like, all rock kind of ruled the airwaves.
Earn your dues kind of thing.
Yeah, they didn't pay their dues. I saw them, or I heard them being referred to as Stone Temple Pixies at one point, which is fucking hilarious.
That's awesome.
Your dog's mad. That's not as good as Bush's 16 Stone being called SEO grunge. See, but it's close.
That was a good one.
Yeah, same year. Yeah. Well, I have thoughts on that coming up at some point.
Rachel,
yeah.
Are there any other Weezer albums that you have owned? Like,
I don't hate Pinkerton. I didn't get into that one. As far as the other stuff, I don't. Outside of the just singles, I did not get into anything else Weezer. This
Rachel,
was the one and only.
Only the cool kids liked Pinkerton. Okay,
it's fine.
What were the singles on that?
Pinkerton?
The Good Life. You didn't get into The Good Life? The fucking Good Life? God, that song's fucking amazing. That's fine. What has Love got to do with it award, Rachel?
Wait, are you not going to ask me about what I like about the band or don't like besides the Blue album?
I thought you saying I wanted to hold off.
No, not on that. Like,
yeah.
I'll hold off on Blue album thoughts.
No, yes. What are give us your Weezer philosophy.
Okay, number one, I love this album. This album is great.
It is. I
had not listened to Pinkerton outside of a couple of songs until we did the episode on Pinkerton, that album's great as well.
I think it was, if I remember the episode correctly, it was kind of still growing on you as we did the episode.
Yeah, and it has continued to grow on me. I've listened to it a little bit since then. Green album, it's fine. I fucking love Maladroit. I do like
Maladroit is a good album. Yes.
And he did a solid to me in marketing.
Oh, you have Van Halen behind you. Weird. Okay.
So Rivers in the lead up and marketing to Maladroit, they're like, this is like our Van Halen 2. It's like short and the songs rock and and I'm like, well, I'm sold. I'll listen to that. And,
of course.
And Dope Nose is a great song.
It is.
And then they're hit and miss. They record some garbage and then they'll do a couple of like an album or two that's good. I don't mind the Red album. It's not great, but I don't mind it. I fucking really like Everything Will Be All Right in the End. I think that album's fantastic.
That's the one that came out like 8 years ago or something like
10
that.
years ago.
And everybody was like, oh, look, Weezer's back.
Yes.
I remember that.
And then the White album was right after it, and it's not bad either. But then it's like, that they're like synth wavy bullshit that they did. I like what
Van
the fuck?
Weezer?
Van Weezer. Okay. Van Weezer. I applaud the sentiment. It's Van Weezer, but
you can't call it Van Weezer and then just be an okay cover band. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I watched an interview where the dude asked him like who were you into? Like you were into like Kiss and who and he mentioned Yngwie Malmsteen. And the interviewer's like, hey, well, like, what do you like? Play some Malmsteen. And he's like, oh, I don't know if I can. And then he just fucking fires off a Malmsteen riff or two. Like, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, fuck, if you're going to do a Van Weezer, fucking do that. Like, go all in if you're going to do that. Don't. Overall catalog would benefit from being heavily curated.
It sucks ass evil. It sucks. It's Blue Album, Pinkerton, And then you're right, there's okay here and there, but the rest of it fucking, it sucks.
I do. I like Maladroit. I like Everything Will Be All Right in the End. I like those two a lot. And the rest of it's very, like, there might be a song or two here and there, a single that's good on the albums, but overall it's like...
Yes. The only way that I would like them at all is if they did something crazy, like go on tour to play the entire Blue album with Dinosaur Jr. and Flaming Lips, which they are doing this year. And I'm taking my daughter in October. Damn
Yay.
it.
Amazing.
So that's going to be amazing. Rachel.
David.
What's love got to do with it?
So I already liked Weezer. I already liked this album. So in that way I came in going, well, I'm already going to like this. It's totally fine. I came out like really loving this album, digging into it and getting to know what makes these boys tick, like what they're writing about, and knowing how this is going to go into another award, so I'm not going to go super into it. But like, they're not even, I don't want to say they're not trying, but they're not trying to be rock stars because they're trying to make music, but they're not like fucking bitches and drinking whiskey and, you know, they're just making music about their lives.
No, they saved that for Pinkerton.
Yeah.
Which is why it rocks so hard. We kind of already talked about what's love got to do with it. The fact that I love and will go to bat for this album so fiercely, even though I can't fucking stand the band anymore. This has the same, for me, it has the same problem that Green Day had, which me, as a young, egotistical lover of music, was so deeply personally offended when the band started to come out with shit that it's like a personal affront. You're not allowed to do the Blue album and then Pinkerton and then come out with the stuff that you've come out with. Like the Green album was so you know all the stuff that makes the Blue album, it's very pop punk, but it's still amazing. Like take out but it's still amazing, and that's the Green album. And people still fucking loved it.
Yeah.
Which made me even more mad. So I think that this album is even more amazing because I have chosen to keep loving it so dearly. Evil, what about you?
I like them and love this album in spite of them.
Yes, that you put it much better than I did. Yes.
That's my answer there.
Perfect.
Right back to you, the DMX award.
I just wrote in all capitals, nerds. It's like they embrace. In the next award,
Two of us cosplayed for this episode, you guys. Look at the fucking screen. They're rock stars. They have a look.
This is. Yeah. I'm gonna save the take for the next one, but it's nerds, and I should hate them. And this goes back to the previous one. I like them in spite of who and what they are.
Yeah.
I agree, and I basically just said kind of the same thing, but I can't even describe what they are. And that to me is what makes them so unique. How do you describe somebody that in one song talks about how much they want to listen to Kiss and play Dungeons and Dragons? How much that personifies the men in our generation, Evil. That's kind of the perfect. These guys are kind of describing our generation. I can't describe it. I can't. Yeah. I have a music podcast. Rachel. Yeah. Rachel, what about you? What makes this album so unique?
I mean, we're all the same people. I just wrote nerd ass nerds talking about their feelings. Like that's all this is. And coming from this type of person, that's unique and that's amazing because a lot of people that live this kind of life, that hang out in their garage playing D&D and thinking about what could be, aren't going to talk about their feelings on this level.
To bash them, stupid nerds.
That's right. You keep that shit to yourself.
Yeah. The Mark Lanigan Award. Okay, so we talk a lot. One of the main things that we talk about on this that makes people Mark Lanigans of the world is that they don't give a fuck.
Right.
These guys truly did not give a fuck. Mm-hmm. These guys, there was no, you know what we need to like work out and look cool on fucking stage. Like these guys didn't give a shit. what they looked like.
Yeah.
To this day, you look at Rivers Cuomo on stage, he is a fucking nerd standing there playing a guitar, just kind of timidly looking over the fucking hill like a bunny, like somebody's gonna fucking attack him. To me, that's very, very rock star, you guys.
Yeah.
Isn't one of their songs about how much they've always been out of the trends? I think it might be Beverly Hills. If you listen to the lyrics, it's basically all about like they've never been the band that was like, we didn't wear the right thing and we didn't do, you know. Rachel,
Yeah.
what about you?
I mean, similarly, you could just take it. I'm taking a page out of Evil's book. The cover of the album is just them standing there.
Yeah.
It's like it's like they just like came after their
Fucking
desk
nerds.
job for a photo shoot and they're like, we didn't bring wardrobe, just stand in front of this blue screen, we're going to take a picture. And they're like, okay, because it's actually just kind of about music for them. It's not, there's no facade. There is no rock star. There's just them playing music.
Evil, what about you?
This is this is where everything goes south.
Oh, Ruh-roh.
I figured it out. It was okay. I figured a few things out last night during my workout session because I was like,
I'm scared. Evil
trying to
warned
figure
me
out
that
your
he's got
favorite
the hottest of
song.
the
I was
tapes.
trying to figure out like what and so I'm just put on my headphones and I'm lifting kettlebells like I do, and not trying to think analytically about the music, just listening to it. And a few things happened. We'll get to one of the ahas I had, but this one, I'm like, Weezer is the Bon Jovi of grunge.
Oh, no.
And I say that with love.
Oh, no.
Because pre-Bon Jovi, that LA hair metal scene, they were very serious and dangerous and wore leather. And there was like the Motley Crue and the David Lee Roths but it was still like this edge that like kept the genre from really propagating across all people.
Yeah.
Grunge was that way. Grunge was like, very introspective, like
Dark and needles.
And clouds, like very geolocated in the Pacific Northwest, and it had that feeling. But if you listen to the music, Weezer is grunge-ish. It comes from a lot of the same influences, a lot of the same, the Pixies, like Sonic Youth. It's pulling from the same stuff, but it's shiny California, happy. Yeah. When the grunge personas, like when they were having problems, they were down in a hole, if you will. They
Good one.
heroin, like Kurt Cobain killed himself like just a little over a month before this album came out. Did Rivers do when he was in his feelings? He went to Harvard.
Yeah.
He went to Harvard and worked out his shit. Like they removed the danger from this kind of music and opened it up to fucking everybody by being these disarming nerds. Like the wardrobes, like in 1994, this was the end of grunge. This is the album that was the end of grunge and the beginning of something else. Wardrobes changed from like ripped jeans and flannels to fucking bowl cuts and bowling shirts and thick black rimmed glasses. Yeah. This was the beginning of nerd culture. Bon Jovi brought the smile to hair metal. These guys brought the happiness to grunge.
The laundry detergent.
And I say that with love. I love all of that.
God damn it, Evil. Asshole.
I'm right. You know I'm right.
I'm not saying anything ever in the world. Overrated, underrated, properly rated.
Overrated. This is trash. This is complete trash. I think they were properly rated before. Still, I think this got the right amount of tension in its time when it came out, and it's still getting the right amount of attention.
It's still crazy to me that this only went triple platinum.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Because like everybody I knew in the world listened to this all the time. Yeah. To this day, I don't think I'll go a week without seeing a post about it online on Instagram. So yeah, I think it's properly rated all across the board. Evil, what do you think?
I think currently is properly rated, and I say that because of all the love that it gets. I think in its time, it was underrated, or at least bashed, and I don't think it deserved that. And a lot of that comes from the critics of the time, similar to Stone Temple Pilots. Like they shot out of the gate with a debut album that killed.
Yeah.
What's interesting is other bands, like heavier band, like Rage Against the Machine, their debut album didn't get shut down like this did. They didn't get like, oh, they should have done an indie release. That album's fairly well received and loved. That
I think it's just a feel of that album.
Sure.
Well, that and the content was a wee bit different than the Blue album.
a touch. Yeah, well, and maybe that. I mean, they were tongue in cheek. Weezer was tongue in cheek.
Yes.
But this got me thinking about debut albums. Also with the Cars tie-in, we talked about 1978 being maybe one of the best years for debut albums ever, right? And if I look at 1978, Van Halen, the Cars, Prince, Joy Division, the list. It was a crazy year for debut albums. The Cars tie-in is interesting because this is Weezer's debut. Let's look at the debut albums for 1994.
Oh my God.
Weezer, Biggie, Oasis, Wilco, Portishead, Sleater-Kinney, Modest Mouse, Korn, Nas, Spoon, Raekwon,
Fugees.
Bush.
Fugees, Bush.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
It's speaking of that. That's basically what the only. It's funny, we had talked about who produced this the whole time, but we hadn't just come out and said that the Cars are an influence. Like,
Yeah.
Of course they are.
But it's one of those things that I don't think about it until I remember who the producer is. Then I'm like, oh fuck, this album is because of the Cars. Mm-hmm. This album happened, for sure.
100%.
Yeah. Anybody have any influences or influencees that we haven't talked about?
I have so many.
Let's let her go. She took so many notes.
Do it.
I took so many notes, David. Again,
why me?
What?
Why me?
I have influences from bunches of different genres because I do feel like they were influenced by, let's just go, alternative rock, power pop. We have Pixies, the Cars. We haven't talked about Cheap Trick, I don't think. Punk rock, we have...
Yeah, Cheap Trick is
that's on my list.
Top 3 influences for them, I guess.
Yeah.
Ramones,
The Clash for the punk. Classic rock, we already talked about Kiss and Beach Boys. Sonic Youth we mentioned. REM we did not mention. And kind of an indie college rock. We said Van Halen, we haven't said Black Sabbath. And then I kind of pulled, like, in a weird way, but is Weird Al. In like a sort of campy, humorous, self-deprecating style of music.
Did Weird Al do a Weezer song? I mean, I feel like it was right there.
I mean,
he probably looked at Buddy Holly and was
pitch.
like, "What the fuck am I supposed to do with this?"
Right.
Like, it's kind of
already
already
there.
one of my songs.
Yeah.
Never mind the Bullocks Award, Rachel. Right back to you.
yeah. If this is the best album there is, right?
Do you think this is a Nevermind the Bullocks? Like, do you think another album is even close?
I would say Pinkerton, but it's a different kind of album.
Absolutely, it is.
And it's kind of hard to, it's like picking a favorite Taylor Swift album, I mean, they're just all different genres.
It is
They're
really, really hard for me to pick a favorite Taylor Swift album. That's true.
Yes, just like that.
Evil, what about you?
I think it and Pinkerton they came out of the gate hard with those two albums.
They kind of fucked themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And doing if they had done like the Green Album and Maladroit and then Pinkerton.
Yep.
What an interesting career that would have been.
Yes.
But now they came out of the gate with two like really interesting, very different, very strong albums, and then set them up to be Weezer.
No, they screwed themselves. They did. Because, look, like I said, the Blue Album to me is one of, if not the most well-produced albums of all time. Pinkerton, they went into the studio and they just fucking, let's rough cut this shit and let's scream in the background and let's, like... They are two opposites, and in the most amazing ways. You're never going to come out with a better 1-2 punch than those. Never mind the Bullocks. If the question is best, not favorite, the Blue Album is, to me, by far the best Weezer album. So I'd give it a Never Mind the Bullocks. The John Paul Jones Award if I could do anything with this, I just can't. I don't. I don't like the cop out of the answer, but I just, what the fuck? I'm not going to change anything on this. I'm not touching the producer. I'm not touching the band. I'm not doing anything with it. Rachel, what about you?
Yeah, I said the same thing. I don't know how to make this
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do.
better. I don't know that you could how to make it better, and I don't know that I'd make it different.
I agree. I think that's the right answer because their approach, it was such a lightning in the bottle kind of thing that they did, is they pulled all of these influences in. Like I said earlier, it's like their choices were really artistic, but also so contrived at the same time. Like I don't think you can add anything to that would make it more interesting or better.
That's a good.
It would probably detract from what they were doing on this album.
Yeah.
No, dude, seriously, this is the song you have to check out. If you meet the person on Earth that hasn't heard the Blue Album, Evil, what are you going to tell them to listen to?
That's such a hard choice. My initial reaction was Buddy Holly, but I also feel like that's the Gadget song. That's the obvious choice.
Yeah.
But and so I'm going to go with the opener. I'm going to go with My Name Is Jonas because there's a lot of interesting musical stuff going on there. It's like essentially a waltz,
Yeah.
And they picked it as the album opener for a reason. It's the first song on their debut album. They chose that for a reason. Mm-hmm. I'm going to stick with that.
That was what I said too. It's got the acoustic. Man, that's another thing that they brought in. The acoustic with the electric, which fucking sounded amazing. But it's got that. It's an anthem. It's definitely an anthem. Yeah, if there are any aspects of that song that you don't like, you're not going to like this album.
It's got fucking harmonica in it.
It's got a harmonica in it.
I love a harmonica.
Rachel. No.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. Just like you guys, there's like 1,000 songs to pick on this. There's like, that could be. I just picked the Sweater Song. I feel like that's a good lure people in song. And it's also kind of speaks to their vibes of what the rest of the album is going to be too. So
especially if you factor in the music video, like in that time, if you like how important that piece of the puzzle was.
Yes.
And 100%. That was in the running for me as well.
Rachel, right back to you for the John Popper Award. What is the best hook on this album?
Holiday is what
really?
is hard to get out of my head.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
Holiday.
This is one of the ahas I had during my workout, my training session last night, when I just like put the headphones on and stopped thinking about the music and just listened to it. And it was the second time the chorus came in on Buddy Holly where I just started fucking laughing. I'm like, it is so good. It's like, I just laughed at how obvious it was when I just like stopped thinking about it. I'm just like, oh yeah, that song is fucking so genius. And it was the second chorus. Oh my God. So brilliant.
It's spectacular. Mine is In the Garage. It's fucking amazing. Like, who would not want to sing along with that? Even kids these days. Getting a fucking... God, every kid in the world, like, get your kids this album and have them listen to it so they want to get in a garage and start a fucking band like you're supposed to.
Yeah.
God damn it. The John Prine Best Lyric Award. Rachel?
Yeah. I said, okay, I would just like to say that in listening and dissecting these lyrics, there's a ton of stuff.
There is.
The one that hit the hardest for me was in Say It Ain't So.
Yeah.
Somebody's high knees crowding my icebox. And knowing now the song was about like his mom like dating dudes and like moving their shit into his house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of symbolism of like you're a kid and your mom's dating somebody new and it's just this like really rude, like it's your fridge, like, and other people are putting their shit in it.
Well,
and if you've ever like lived with other people, you're just like, this is my space. Like, what are you doing?
Well, and there's also the other implications of that this guy that has been doing this, it's the beer that's in the fridge because the guy is a pissed off drunk. So when
Yeah.
when the guy grabs the cold one, it starts giving him chills.
Yeah.
That's dark shit. It's very dark.
Yeah.
There was a fucking movie. It's like when Elijah Wood was a little kid. Did you guys ever see the movie Radio Flyer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Fuck me. That was so fucking dark, dude. But I
Yeah.
loved it when I was a kid, even though it was like, it's all based around a fucking two brothers trying to build a contraption so they can get their little brother away from this fucking abusive stepfather who, like,
Yeah.
I think it's like every night he goes into the garage and he starts playing a Hank Williams song and drinking beer. It's, oh my God, it's dark as shit. That's the feel that I get from this a little bit. Happy stuff, you guys. It's
Yeah.
the Blue Album. It's happy, happy stuff. I could say anything. Like, I'm looking at the lyrics for Say It Ain't So right now. That bridge part, that Dear Daddy, I write you in spite of years of silence. Like, you've cleaned up,
Yeah.
found Jesus. Kind of that's great, fuck you kind of thing. It's pretty fucking deep. Evil. What are your favorite lyrics?
I mean, it probably the right answer should probably be something off of Say It Ain't So, but the philosophy and Descartes lover in me, it's the introductory lyrics to Undone the Sweater song. I'm me be, goddamn I am.
That's so good.
It's so simple and
Yes.
That's
stupid,
good.
but it's fucking brilliant.
It's not that simple though.
It's simple in construction, not in the thought behind it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fucking nerd.
And that whole song is just it's lyrically brilliant. But that as being
Yeah.
the intro to it is fucking great.
Gonna bash him, stupid nerd. That's a great answer. Evil, you've got to start off the Eddie Van Halen award.
Oh man, I wanted it to be the little like high guitar part in Buddy Holly, the little. I wanted it to be that, but I was like Rachel. I when I went to listen to this, I'm like I fucking know every song on this,
Yeah.
but not well. There were some
Yeah.
songs I knew more better than others. One of the tracks that I wasn't super familiar with was the closer, Only in Dreams, which your and I's episode on Pinkerton got me to warm up to that song more.
Gotcha.
And then I was learning about like the recording process for that song and how the solo at the end, that's the answer for me. It's like he put off recording that for so long.
Yeah.
And Rick was like, come on, when we got it. There's like this 3-minute section of just drum and bass doing the same thing. Oh, and Rupert like, it's going to be awesome. And he had no idea what the fuck he was going to do. And there was a Sunday where he went into the studio and it was a Sunday that Rick wasn't able to show up, and he just fucking noodled around and came up with that. He's like, I just had to go in and improvise until I took a bad left turn and then punch in right there and start again. And that made me kind of fall in love with that song.
That's awesome.
Towards the end. Yeah. And so I'm going to say that.
For me, I'll do the same thing. The right answer for me is probably that little guitar twang and Say It Ain't So. Where he takes that one high note, it does the dun wow wow. That thing that he does, fucking amazing. But there is something about certain fucking Weezer drum intros, and that sweater undone, that just doom doom. It's he does the same thing in Pinkerton with El Scorcho. Where it's just like dum boom boom. He's so good at those stupid little drum intros. So that's I got to give him props for stupid little drum intros.
I love it.
Surfer Rosa Award, Rachel. How is this shit structured?
It's just fab. I think
fab.
this is how it's structured. Like, this is an album that this is all we know of things in this order. So why would you change anything? I feel like the intro, My Name is Jonas, is perfect. The closer's great. I think it's structured really, really perfectly.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. Evil, what about you?
If I had to like split it in half, first 5 versus second 5, I would say on average the first 5 maybe a little stronger, but the second half has Say It Ain't So on it, has Only in Dreams as the closer, so
Yeah.
I think that evens it out.
Time of Your Life Award. I don't know. I guess I'll go because I can't. Okay, so here's the thing. This album for me suffers through Heard It Too Much-itis. So songs, honestly, like the Sweater Song, Buddy Holly, those are kind of skips for me on this album.
Yeah.
Like if I'm Spotifying it, I'm probably not listening to those very much. And it's not because they're not great songs. It's just I've heard those a lot of times. You know, back in 1994, my least favorite song was probably one of the ones that I didn't get yet, Like Only in Dreams. But today, if I had to pick one, it's probably Buddy Holly, just because I've heard it too much. I hate that answer. Rachel, what about you?
I said I did not go that route of overplayed, and I went, The World Has Turned and Left Me Here. And I say that because lyrically, put your headphones back. So hard to work for. You're so fucking dramatic, David.
I don't want to do this podcast anymore.
Yes, you do. You need to listen to me. We all have opinions. The reason that I picked this song, it is musically beautiful. However, the lyrics in writing, there's showing somebody and there's telling somebody. And this feels like I'm not finding out how you feel, but you're handing me your diary. It's the lyrics are so on the nose of like, hey, I'm a nerd. I'm super sad. And here, I'm telling you about it. I'm not showing you. It's just, I want to work for it a little bit. And I know I'm not working for it at all on that. But it's a great song.
Completely disagree.
Outside of the lyrics.
I think that
You what?
like
You disagree?
Yeah, like I talked for hours to your wadded photograph and you just listened. To me, that's such a brilliant breakup line. That's such a, like he got pissed off and he crumpled up the pictures and he threw them away. And then the next day he's grabbing them out of the trash and he's just like trying to remember this. I think it's a great fucking breakup song. Fine. Whatever.
Fine.
Evil, what is your least favorite song on the Blue Album?
I think musically it's great, but it also, because of the time, it didn't age as well lyrically. I picked No One Else. And also, I just don't vibe with the message. It's like...
That's because you're cool, Evil.
Yeah. I'm too cool for it. That's
you're cool and handsome and secure.
Evil will never admit to insecurities.
Why would I?
That is the perfect answer. All right, now the fun part. 3 best songs on the album. Let's start with Rachel.
Yeah.
Rachel, what do you got?
All 3. Boom. Number 3. No One Else.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's so creepy and it makes me so uncomfortable. It's like when you're watching a movie and you just are like uncomfortable by the way people are acting and you're like, should I be watching this? It kind of felt...
But it's a great fucking song.
It is a great song.
The verses are great.
But
at the end when he's doing the higher pitch, the I want a girl, that's so fucking good.
Yeah. But it's like being in somebody's therapy session and feeling like you shouldn't be there. That's kind of how I feel when I listen to this. And I like it. I like feeling a little uncomfortable. The second one, just because the beautiful picture that it paints, and we kind of hit on this a little bit before, of In the Garage. Like,
yeah,
it's just amazing to me that somebody came from that and became these very famous musicians, of like feeling a certain way and feeling like, I don't want to tell you my feelings, but going out and doing it and writing about it.
Yes. Oh man, I just had the weirdest memory.
Was it about it being in your garage?
Kind of. So this is what I think the emotion that is behind that music is coming from, or that it's just mine, I guess. But there's a thing about nerdy fucking kids who I was a skinny nothing kid who there is a part of you that's thinking like, if only these people knew how cool I actually was. Like if only these people, I remember I had an after school daycare once and there was this bully there. And I was like, if this kid, I used to have, I would daydream about having my Walkman on and singing like Guns N' Roses. Cause I was like, if this kid knew how fucking cool that I listen to Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
I feel like there's an aspect of that in this why am I getting picked on and stuff when it's like, look how fucking cool I am.
But
But I also I like the aspect of like there's a safe space no matter what's going on.
That's exactly what I was just gonna say, of like having the security of like, you kennel our dogs, right? They have a kennel at nighttime, or if we leave the house and don't trust them. Also, if they get scared, they're running into there, right? And so I very much try as a dog parent to not put my hands inside the kennel, because it is just entirely their space. And I feel like even if I go in there to pet them, like it's like how you felt about your room as a teenager. Like if your mom walked in your room as a teenager, you're just like, this feels like I'm seeing my teacher at the store. Could you please leave? And so I think it's really, really beautiful of them.
What's your favorite song?
My favorite song, because Evil told me it was, is Say It Ain't So. Really, it comes down to the lyrics. Again, for 99% of the lyrics, I knew them and I could sing them, but I did not understand them. And this one just hit the hardest and was just the saddest for me.
It's a
Having this broken home and singing about it. And like, he's writing it as an adult, but the feelings are definitely feel like I'm like an 8-year-old kid and there's my mom has a new boyfriend sort of feeling to it.
Yeah, I've always loved that song for those very specific reasons. My favorite songs on this album, number 3 is In the Garage. Same reasons we just talked about. My number 2 is My Name is Jonas, because it's the perfect fucking 1994 anthem. It's fucking amazing. I love it so much. And my number 1 is The World Has Turned and Left Me Here. That is such fucking sludge rock guitar.
Yeah.
Going through that entire song. It is so low and melodic and hypnotizing. I love that song so much. Those are my 3 favorite songs. Evil, what is your 3 favorite songs?
Oh man, this is so difficult. If I was picking best songs, this would probably be a different list.
It would absolutely be a different one for me.
This has changed. I honestly, I was like right before plugging into record, I'm like, fuck, what are my 3 favorite? I don't know how to order them. I know what my number 1 is. The other 2, I don't know which ones to put in there. I don't know how to order them, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to say number 3, My Name is Jonas. I think it's a great intro.
It is.
It's musically interesting. It sets the tone. So much going on in it that it gets your attention.
It totally does.
And it's listenable on repeat. I don't get bored of it.
I love the entire metaphor going through the whole thing of the factory working thing.
Yeah.
Because it also,
Yeah.
that's the other thing. This album has a real kind of Midwestern kid in the 90s feel.
Yes. Yeah.
And those parents would all be fucking factory workers, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And sorry, not 90s, like 80s and 70s.
Sure. But yeah, I get where you're coming from there. It's great opener. I feel like it gets overlooked because it is the opener and you kind of leap into some of the other stuff. Like the singles are deeper cuts and there's some really interesting stuff towards the end. My number 2, this was the first single, I think. Undone was the first single.
I have no idea.
Right or wrong there? I think it was. The video, Spike Jonze video of them just like on the stage. I love the visuals that are tied to it. It
was their first single.
That video is it's what made me say I like this band in spite of who they are, honestly. But it's also where I got the Bon Jovi thing from, because when the guitars kick in, that wall of sound, the distorted guitars, like if you listen to the most rocking Soundgarden or Alice in Chains or even like Nirvana or even Pearl Jam songs, I don't picture anyone stepping their fucking foot up onto the monitor like Scott Stapp from Creed and rocking out with their cock out like you can to this music.
Yeah.
Like you can put your foot up on there and start hitting those riffs in the Sweater song.
That's awesome.
It's fucking nerdy as all get out, but it is still triumphant.
I love that.
They brought that back into music. So that's my number 2. And my number 3 is Buddy Holly. I think that song is so fucking genius. And Rivers didn't want to put it on the album, not because he didn't like it. I mean, he wrote the fucking song, but he was worried that it would be like,
that's right.
It would detract from everything else.
He thought it would make
like,
the whole album a shtick. Yes. Yeah.
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 But Rick Ocasek was like, dude, you gotta fucking put that album, or you have to put that song on the album. And I think that was the right choice. And that hit me, like I said yesterday when I was working out, and I started just laughing at how fucking good it is. Everything about that song is perfect.
It is a great song.
Yeah, and also more of the MTV video days. That fucking Happy Days video.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
One of the best videos of all time.
Right back to you, Evil. Who won this album?
Nerds.
Fucking nerds.
Nerds.
Bash 'em, stupid nerds.
It was the it launched nerd culture.
It did. Made it
did.
Made it okay. It's gonna be
Made it okay.
Okay.
For the Steve Jobs and the Bill Gateses of the world to
Rejoice.
take over for the next
Ever.
30 years. We're gonna fucking oust them all, though.
I don't know, man.
Bring
We'll
it
see.
back.
I'm not sure if you know this, but
Meatheads
they're
and
still
muscles.
pretty rich.
For now.
Who won this album? Kids with Daddy Issues. So this is what I haven't gotten to say yet. While I went through my favorites, you notice Say It Ain't So isn't on there, saving this take for last. But we already talked about Purple. We loved Purple, but Evil really planted his flag on saying that that Purple is one of the greatest albums of all time, and B, Interstate Love Song, which I agree with, is one of the greatest songs of all time. I feel those exact things for the Blue Album and Say It Ain't So. Same question. That same hot-ass Australian woman is at the bar and says, what's the greatest written rock song of your generation? I would immediately say It Ain't So.
Wow.
It is the perfect rock song. Damn it. That's who won the album. I guess Say It Ain't So won the album. Rachel, who won the album?
I also said Nerds.
Bash 'em, stupid nerds.
Stupid nerds. Just like, I guess this opened up a whole new culture of talking about your feelings in a whole different way and and being accepted for them. You know, it's write what you know to like a therapy session. Like write what you just talked to your therapist about. And so I feel like that type of music won, but Nerds, like knowing, because writing in my garage and then having it be a hit is like, well, if people only knew who I really was, and then you write about it and you're like, wait, no, but I'm cool.
Yeah.
Then other kids are like, wait, all these other things that I do, like other people love horses. I'm going to be a horse girl and that's okay. And I'm going to talk about it.
Who doesn't love horses? What a bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
Rate the album, Rach.
Ooh. I'm going to say probably 10 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Probably.
I think any problem with this album is my problem and not the album's problem.
But it's your rating, though.
No, it's a 10.
Okay.
That's great.
All right. I guess we have a 10 out of 10 album. Times 2. Because, yes, this is a 10 out of 10. This is a 12 out of 10 album. There's nothing imperfect about this album. There's no song put in the wrong place. There's no song that that you couldn't point out and I couldn't be like, this is why this song is fucking rad and belongs on this album. It is absolutely a perfect album to me. Evil, rate the album.
Okay, I'm gonna play some politics here. I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10 because I have 3 hard 10 out of 10 albums this year that I also will be, and we've already talked about 2 of them. There are at least 3 albums that are 10 out of 10 albums from this year for me. 3 very important ones to me, and maybe some others. We've talked about 2 of the most important ones. These are like favorite albums of all time for me.
Poiple? and Super.
Purple and Super Unknown we have talked about. So I don't want to give you any ammo to fire back at me when my third one comes into play. Also, I think this is worthy of a 10 out of 10. It's talked about as one of the greatest albums of the 90s. At the time the critics were being douchebags because that's what critics do.
That's what critics do. Exactly.
Yeah, that's their fucking job. Mm-hmm. But I think it has aged very well and is worthy of it. I think it's worthy of being on the wall.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's one of our only 2 or 3 perfect 30 out of 30 albums. I think we only have like 2 of them. Wowzers. Good job. Who would have seen that coming? Everybody, that's the Blue Album. Join us next week when we start, actually 2 weeks of album exchanges. Rachel and I are going to exchange a couple 94 albums. Evil and I are going to exchange a couple 94 albums. There will be 10s thrown out somewhere out there. But who will do it and why? Next week, Rachel and I kick it off with the Fugees' debut album and Bush's debut album. And boy, are there some thoughts that are going to deeply offend some of you. Rachel included, right?
Yeah.
Rachel, thank you for joining so early in the morning.
Yeah, no, I've been awake for hours, so we're good.
How's your stomach? Is it doing better?
It's okay.
Go take a shot and drink some Pepto. You'll be right as rain. Evil, how was Boozy Coffee?
Boozy Coffee is always good.
Right?
I mean, it just is.
I do not disagree. We love you. We love the Blue Album. Go listen to it. I'm going to go get drunk in Irish pubs now. Good night.
Bye.
And good luck.
Have a good time. I'll talk to you later.
Oh, good God.